Political analyst Bongani Mahlangu joins us live now at this hour to weigh in on that a little bit further. So we're really looking at the young people. We're looking at some of the sentiments around youth voting, including voter apathy, some of the view that there's political alienation, some questioning whether there is sufficient representation as well. We're looking at the relationship in urban and rural areas, the socioeconomic conditions, and really how that impacts some voter turnout. Some of the sentiments that we're going to be exploring this time around as we speak to Bongani Mahlangu, who is a political analyst. Let's see if he's on the line with us now. Bongani, if you can hear me, good afternoon, and thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
No, good afternoon. I'm in studio, and good afternoon to the viewers at home.
So our focus today is the youth and young people, first-time voters as well. And registration weekend is happening across the country. So as we assess the political climate in the country, even the youth league structures of parties, how would you describe the mindset of young people as we edge closer to our elections come next year?
Okay, no, thanks. So if you look into the political youth formations that currently exist as extension of their mother bodies, most of them find it hard to appeal to young people of this country. And it's not just through their messaging or their communication in mass media, but through their individual behavior in interaction with this demographic group. For instance, you will find a leader, a president of a political youth formation being driven around in a Viano car with about 3 protectors. This person accumulates about more than 100,000 rands per month after tax. And it's the way he's living, the life he's living. It is not consistent with the majority of young people in this country. So that individual himself, as an individual, is aloof. So when that individual gets into a community, a typical township in South Africa, rural area, where young people are hopeless, where young people are involved in delinquent behavior, and so forth and so on, that person cannot resonate with those young people. Hence, you would even find at times the communication that that young leader gives is about things that happened before 1994, and does not talk about today in 2023 and the challenges of today and practical, easily implementable solutions for today. Another challenge that we have amongst young people is the youth critical consciousness. If you then compare generations of young people, the current generation to the 90s generation, to the 80s, 70s generation, you would realize that there is a sliding scale with regards to collective consciousness among this demographic group. And if you look into the current generation, one of the determinants or contributors to that sliding scale of consciousness is the media itself. I was comparing the music that I was listening to in the 90s, Uata Makukate, for example, in his song Bas, when he talks about "Don't call me a kafir," because that was what was happening around that time. It was a nice song, a conscious song you could dance to, but the lyrics were conscious, were educational, and you could resonate. The current generation are subjected to music like Ngistawa. The current generation are subjected to music like Jagameister. So the media perpetuates this lack of consciousness. So you have a demographic that is not aware of self and surrounding. A demographic that finds it hard to synthesize. So you look at your theses, your antitheses, and develop a synthesis from that. You have a generation that is aloof and detached from the realities that they themselves face. So it becomes a bit difficult to get then that demographic to come and participate in this electoral exercise of voting as part and means of public participation, as part of means of being active in a competitive and participatory democracy.
Bongani, thank you for those sentiments. At this point, speaking about the responsibility and collective consciousness influencing that as well, there are a number of first-time voters that will be participating in these elections come next year. And perhaps you could speak to the responsibility that they have, given the numbers and the age group, the responsibility they have to the country. And what should they be channeling towards the leaders who inevitably they are going to be voting for in terms of their own needs for the future?
Exactly. So we commend those first-time voters, first-time registers who then become first-time voters in the next election in 2024. Those people are demonstrating that it is important that you must be active, you must participate in this democracy in order to derive democratic dividends. That means to get a state that works, because that's how you derive your dividends or your yield from participating in this democracy. It is also important that we conscientize that group that participating in an election or elections, it is not just the only way that you can raise your voice and hold politicians accountable. Post putting those people in office or voting for those individuals, even if they do not make it, but those that do make it have a responsibility to represent you, even if it did not support them. But post that is to ensure that you are active when bills are being passed. You are active when white papers are being drafted. You raise your voice. You attend community meetings and. But we know that in South Africa, looking at historic trends, we have seen that when there is lack of service delivery, then participation tends to go low as well. So then there is a relationship between the two variables. But then what South Africans then tend to do as an alternative means of holding people in power accountable is to protest. But we must conscientize this new entering group into electoral participation, that is not the only way. There are other more effective ways, such as a motion of no confidence that comes maybe comes from the public. It goes through these channels or structures of legislature. You have one in your local municipality, your provincial legislatures and national government, where you raise such grievances and you call for a certain public representative to be removed. I forgot what the structure is right now, but there is such a structure where you raise the petition structure, where you can raise a petition that you are not satisfied with a specific leader or a specific structure or specific systems. And government has a responsibility to look into those. So those are democratic tools that you can use post-elections in order to ensure that your voice is heard. So you do not just vote for a person and you give them the proxy to make decisions for you and you take a seat back to say, I have voted, I have participated, I am done. There is more to democracy than just that election. So when they understand that, it becomes easier for them to participate in the next election. And they must also know that there's not one political formation. There are alternatives.
Yes.
So if the one that you have supported in 2024 does not satisfy you in the next 5 years, you can always shop around for others and give your support to others. You are not beholden to one organization, and you will not lose your job, you will not be barred from economic access, and you will not lose RDP or social grant if you look for an alternative. There's no such a thing in democratic state.
Bongani, let's leave that conversation there for now. Thank you for your time.